Alan Turing, the father of modern computing and artificial intelligence. And this video is about who he was as a child, his work on Enigma machines and computers, his love life, and his demise. Forewarning though, this might not be the happiest of videos. Alan was born on June 23rd, 1912 in London. Unlike the movie portrayed, Alan was a cheeky, untidy, and often late human, but a naturally curious child. He would bury his action figures in the ground when they broke to see if they grew back whole in the way that plants grew. Apparently he taught himself to read in 3 weeks, and he picked up maths and equations in even less time. Once, during a family picnic, he thought they could enjoy some honey with their food, so he found a bee, plotted its flight path back to the hive, and acquired them some honey. Now how he did this without some serious drama on the part of the bee, I have no idea. But his intelligence was a lot like a skill tree in an RPG. He plotted so many points towards maths and science that his handwriting was so bad he often couldn't read his own formulas. And like many of us as a child, he had to mark his hands so he could tell his left from the right. He called it the knowing spot. Alan's gay awakening was a boy named Christopher Malcolm. Now Christopher was quite small for that age, and this is one of the reasons why he fascinated Alan, but truth be told, it's because Alan found him quite handsome. He loved to sit and watch Christopher play piano for ages, and although he was quite sure that Christopher knew about his feelings towards him, he was also pretty sure that they were never reciprocated, unfortunately. Right, his work. Now, Alan got a scholarship to Cambridge University, which is where he first proposed the idea of the Turing machine and started thinking about artificial intelligence. He was 22 at the time. Once he graduated, he went to work for the British Army for code breaking, and once they were at war with Germany, he went to Bletchley Park to work on cracking the Enigma code. This is so confusing, and I'm going to do my very best to explain it right now. The Enigma machine was an encryption machine invented by Germany. It looked a bit like a typewriter with a little screen on the top, and it had 3 rotors inside. Now each letter on the keyboard was assigned to a different letter. So you press that one and a different letter appears on the screen. The problem is every time you press the letter, the rotors would move, changing the circuit. 159 million combinations, which is why it was thought impossible to crack. More specifically, Turing and his team were working on naval communications, which had been upgraded to a 5-rotor system. What they eventually did was upgraded an earlier code-breaking machine designed by the Polish called the Bomber. Now, they used statistics to make the machine work, figuring that there has to be some form of common phrase used, such as the weather, or salutes, or something like this. Don't ask me to explain how this thing works because I have no idea. But when they were building it, they discovered that the normal bureaucratic route to get materials took too long and they weren't getting anywhere. So they wrote a letter to Winston Churchill himself, which apparently works, because they got a reply saying they must get everything they ask for immediately, which is phenomenal. Now it is estimated that this machine, Turing and his team, saved 14 million lives and shortened the war by 2 years. Alan married the only woman on his team, Joan Clark. Now she graduated with a double first from Cambridge, but she didn't actually have a degree because women couldn't get degrees in England until 1948. Their engagement didn't last very long, however, after he told her he was gay. They did remain friends for the rest of their lives. Content warning for the rest of the video, I talk about chemical castration, suicide, and homophobia. A few years after his work at Bletchley Park, Alan met and started sleeping with a 19-year-old Arnold Murray. Now a few weeks after this happened, his apartment got broken into. Arnold told Alan that he knew the robbers and threatened to tell the police about their relationship if he told them about the robbery. Alan told the police about the robbery, and Arnold told the police about their relationship. Now at this point in England's history, being gay was a crime, well, being queer of any flavour was a crime. Being young, Arnold got off with just a warning. Alan, however, got a choice, either chemical castration or jail. To carry on with his research and his life, he chose the castration. Now this meant that he couldn't work for the government anymore, he couldn't travel to many countries around the world, including America, but the medication made him so ill he couldn't really do much of anything anymore. On June 8th, 1954, Alan Turing was found dead in his apartment at the age of 41. Now, the official report says it was suicide by a cyanide-dosed apple. Some people say that it was more likely to be inhaling because he often experimented with boiling cyanide in a poorly ventilated room. Some people think it was suicide, but his equipment was left out so his parents could get plausible deniability. I don't know. What I do know is that the world would look so different without Alan Turing, his team, or his machines. Phones, computers, space travel, none of us really know whether that would be possible without him. What we do know is that when all the cards were put on the table, the country he worked so hard for cared more about who he loved than what he did. They cared more that he slept with men than the fact that he helped save 14 million lives. Now I know this isn't the happiest ending to a video, but shit, sometimes that's life. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe.